Can rookie sensation Jaden Daniels clip the Eagles' wings on his way to Super Bowl history? Then, two teams that know each other all too well face off in the AFC in the Bills and Chiefs. SportsGrid has you covered all day Sunday. Start at 8 a.m. with FST, followed by Pro Football Today, and stay with us for in-game live game day. Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Welcome in. It is Game Time Decisions. We are live right here on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh with you on this Thursday night, 2 hours to set it up and knock it down with a lot of eyes, of course, on tonight's basketball board, primarily the NBA providing the action. We can touch on the college boards as well. Not just the men's game, but the women's game tonight is offering up a very important battle in the SEC. We will continue to take a look at, again, all of your action here today on this Thursday slate. We will also be taking a look at some of your NFL postseason leader options, receiving yards, passing touchdowns, and where the value is. Quickly, before we get into tonight's card, just taking a look and speaking of things going on for the NFL. Some news out of Jacksonville. Liam Cohen, who initially was a top candidate for the Jaguars, had passed on that job. Most believing the idea was the Trent Baalke general manager position still being held by Baalke was the deterrent. Well, the Jaguars fired Baalke, and we are now hearing from all of the top NFL reporters that Liam Cohen is back and speaking with Jacksonville. And it feels as if there is momentum for Liam Cohen, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive coordinator, to become the head man with the Jaguars. We will keep you updated on any of that news and what could potentially be finalized. That move there, unfortunate for Tampa Bay, who could be losing their offensive coordinator for the second straight season. Potentially a huge boost for the Buffalo Bills, where we heard the Jags might have to turn to Joe Brady, their offensive coordinator. Only a few other jobs out there. I feel as if the Saints job is the only other one we're hearing Joe Brady's name being tossed around in. But let's get to your basketball card tonight. I like this NBA slate here. There's some juice out there. Let's dive right into it. At 7:30, we have the Atlanta Hawks and the Toronto Raptors, and we've got Trae Young in a clear and obvious bounce-back spot. Trae really struggled despite playing 40 minutes of hoop against Detroit, finished with just 13 points, as well as just 9 assists and 2 rebounds. When you see Trae Young go out there and score 15 or less without double-digit dimes, he typically ups the ante the next go-around. The reason tonight, though, I'm going to play the rebounds plus assists is Trae is on the second leg of a back-to-back. Over 13.5 rebounds plus assists is how I'm going to back Trae Young. If you look this year, he has struggled when playing in consecutive games. Now, the one time scoring the basketball, the one time that wasn't true, ironically, was when they played the Toronto Raptors on the second leg of a back-to-back. He lit it up and scored 34 points. But primarily, Trae Young is not someone who misses 13.5 RA in consecutive games. He's missed that now in 2 straight games. I like a big-time bounce back here for Trae. Don't be surprised if this is one of those 15-dime nights and he clears it entirely with the passing. At 8 o'clock, we've got Oklahoma City and Dallas. I am still waiting to see FanDuel specifically pop a number on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander made threes. SGA coming off of a 54-point performance against the Utah Jazz is potentially in line to stay hot from beyond the arc. Over 1.5 made threes for SGA on FanDuel, on DraftKings right now is checking it at minus 140. FanDuel not posting a number. I am partially wondering if that is because they are not 100% sure if Shai will be playing. The last time OKC was on a back-to-back, SGA did not make that starting gate. And I'm wondering, since there's not been a number posted yet on Gilgeous-Alexander, if the first number that pops on FanDuel is a little bit lighter. Because Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a streaky three-point shooter. He just made 3 threes on 10 attempts from beyond the arc against Utah. When SGA makes 3 or more threes, and in the prior game he had made just 1, he, in that next game, has always made at least 2. He stays hot, he keeps shooting, whatever it might be, and off of that performance against Utah, I would look for Shai to do a little bit more of that. At minus 140, it's playable, but I'm waiting. Perhaps we can get a bit of a better number. Another 3-point prop for me on tonight's board is going to be over a half-made 3 for Bam Adebayo. The Miami Heat are all the talk right now. The Jimmy Butler situation is a disaster. He has been suspended again by the Miami Heat. I would be stunned if he has not played his last game in a Heat uniform. It would be the best for both, especially because Miami is going to get something of a real return for Jimmy that can help them win games this year. It is ridiculous to let this go on any longer. I know that Miami, it takes, in this case, probably a lot more than 2 to tango, 3, 4, 5 teams to potentially get this deal done. I know the Beal no trade clause complicates this because every indication is Jimmy Butler is going to end up a Phoenix Sun, and that's what I expect as well. Miami has to make a move here, though, and I do think they eventually will. The other move that Miami has made for the time being is playing Khalil Ware more, the rookie out of Indiana, something I thought Miami actually would do much earlier in Ware's time. Khalil Ware has a skill set where you can put him next to Bam Adebayo, and Bam Adebayo has a skill set where you can put him next to Khalil Ware. Ware's numbers are very tricky. He's played 34 and 39 minutes in the last 2 games, but there was a blowout for Miami in the fourth quarter. He keeps playing. A blowout against Miami in the fourth quarter of their last game. He keeps playing. I don't know what it looks like for Khalil Ware if Miami isn't blowing a team out or getting blown out. It makes his prompts odd. I do know for Bam Adebayo, though, he is starting to shoot the 3 ball a little bit more. He's taken at least 2 attempts now in 6 consecutive games. However, 3 straight games without a make from beyond the arc. We're getting plus money, plus 105 for Bam to hit a 3. Perhaps playing next to Ware, who can stretch the floor in his own right, but maybe putting a little bit more pressure on the interior, pops Bam out. Bam's played 25 and 22 minutes in the last 2 games. We can maybe see 4 attempts tonight for Bam Adebayo. Maybe he makes multiple threes. I have him to make at least 1 at plus 105. Denver, Sacramento, a best bet, okay, and a hand up. Nikola Jokic against Philadelphia, a best bet was 50 PRA. Thank goodness it wasn't 50.5. finishes with 27, 13, and 10. It was a winning wager. Jokic only played 30 minutes because they absolutely routed Philly. If you remember my breakdown for that game on Tuesday, I said how Jokic was not dominating the stat sheet in a recent 4-game run where he did not have 50 PRA. That was because Jokic had not played in the fourth quarter in any of those 4 games. That has remained true for Nikola Jokic in these last stretch of games here. Didn't play in the fourth against Philly. The number's still 49.5. It's not a best bet, but it's a must play. If Jokic plays in the fourth quarter tonight, he could smash this number. The last time he played in the fourth quarter of a game, he finished with 62 PRA. My best bet on tonight's board, Warriors first quarter money line. Massive, massive bounce back spot for them at home. Fading the Chicago Bulls on a road trip in Los Angeles with a few days off. The Bulls won at the Clippers. Now I think they slow start, and all of their season's profiles suggest they will against Golden State. We'll talk Celtics, Lakers a little bit more. That's next year on Game Time Decisions.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Road management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Live right here on SportsGrid, it's Game Time Decisions. The big game on the NBA board is the LA Lakers hosting the Boston Celtics. I did play Boston's team total in this game at 111.5, a number that they've still been able to hit when playing on the second leg of a back-to-back and on the road. It's a climbing number, though, as Boston is a full go tonight. No Holiday, KP, or Al Horford in their game against the Clippers, where they only scored 103 in regulation, got well over that, of course, with an overtime victory in that game. But you're getting a full effort tonight from Boston, and no surprise when they play a rival like the LA Lakers. To talk more about this game and Boston specifically, we bring in Bobby Kravitsky, who covers the Celtics, writes about the NBA for Forbes. And Bobby, what are you expecting tonight from the Celtics on the second leg of this back-to-back here against their heated rival?
Yeah, the Celtics are tied for the best road record in the NBA this season. And dating back to when Brad Stevens was the head coach, they've consistently done an excellent job on the second leg of back-to-backs. So between resting, as you said, several key players, 2 starters there with Holiday and Porzingis, being able to come in as fresh as you can reasonably be on the second half of a back-to-back, plus no travel, you get to stay in LA. So I think this game is going to be a slugfest. And Kevin, I think something the Celtics have filed away is that last year at TD Garden, without LeBron James and Anthony Davis, the Lakers handed them one of their few home losses. And so I think that's a little added motivation for the Celtics in this one.
And look, if that Celtics offense has it going, there's not much a team can really do. I wonder if the Lakers defense will be able to provide some issues. It's been an up and down year for them on that side of the basketball. They held Washington to 88. That's also Washington, who is atrocious on that end. Boston is a completely different level. I'm curious, Bobby, as you've been following this team, and look, they're very rare, but it comes with the standard. At 31-13, they're kind of they would probably go in the underachiever pile based on preseason expectations. How do you feel after the first 44 games of Celtics basketball about this team relative to the rest of the NBA?
Well, so this is the question that the Celtics keep getting peppered with is, okay, we understand that it's emotionally exhausting to come back after winning a championship. And if you're going to have a low period in the season, it's much better to do it in December and into January as opposed to when the playoffs are arriving. So that's all well and good, but we can't just chalk up the performing below expectations due to poor shooting luck and, you know, the Clippers last night, to use an example. Okay, they shot well on contested mid-range jumpers. On one hand, you'll live with that. On another, it resulted in it looking at one point like this might be a disastrous loss for the Celtics before they ultimately had to, you know, they squandered the chance to win in regulation. They salvage it in overtime with Jaden Springer, the unexpected hero for them. So, yes, there are some things where you can say, hey, bad luck, like with the shooting most notably. But at the same time, it does require a level of urgency to fix these issues and get back to performing up to the standard that this team has established. So I think you're starting to see more and more the Celtics try and shake off that funk. And not to be long-winded here, Kevin, but what you've seen is a starting lineup that has not had much reps together and is having to reestablish continuity. Their last 2 times on the floor together in particular have looked very effective and been a plus 33, including just steamrolling the Warriors a few nights ago. So the Celtics, to me, are starting to get back on track, albeit last night, not a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I think for Boston, you know, they are the defending champs, which is always going to hold a lot of weight in the NBA. Their big challenger in the East is a Cavs team who people will need to see a lot more from because it's the postseason where we judge these things. The big challenger in the West is Oklahoma City, who, like Cleveland, didn't make it out of the second round last year, right? You go to the rest of the Eastern Conference, the Knicks are still figuring it out. Philly's a downright disaster. And the Milwaukee Bucks, I guess, are playing better. I don't know. Maybe it depends on any given day. So I think one of the big things for the Celtics and why there's certainly no panic is it's not as if anybody is running away from them. But, you know, you mentioned last year a victory for the Lakers in Boston. That's one of the things that does stand out to me a little bit is that they've already doubled their home losses this year versus last year. I think the Celtics as title favorites is totally fine. But there was last year when we looked at the East, it was like, nobody's really going to beat them. I think it's fair to say they are more vulnerable than last year's group now.
Yo, without a doubt. I think that the league is better. And let's not forget that the Cavaliers, while they can make a smaller move, it's something that could help and prove a difference maker in the playoffs. The Thunder have a treasure chest of draft picks to be able to acquire a significant piece if they choose to, right? And so the Knicks, I'm less worried about for the Celtics because as we saw on opening night, and yes, it's one game and it was the first one, but when you put Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson on the full floor, I think the Celtics look at that like lunch meat, Like there's so much that they can do in a scenario like that. And those guys are going to be on the floor the most important minutes, provided they're healthy, if those two teams lock horns in a playoff series. And then with Giannis, I trust him in the playoffs. I don't know if his teammates at their age have the stamina to pull off a win in a best-of-7 series against the Celtics. And kind of, it's still, you have to respect the championship potential of that quartet. And maybe they reconfigure things between now and the deadline. But I look at the Bucks with a lot of skepticism. So to me, I look at the Celtics and say they're not shooting the ball as well, like I said earlier, and it's impacted them in ways that it wasn't a season ago. It's really compromised their defense. Their transition defense has not been as crisp as it was a season ago. Last night against the Clippers team that is playing a lot of guys who are outside of its primary rotation, and they're struggling to get stops for a good chunk of that game, where their on-ball defense is struggling so much that they're bringing in Jaden Springer, who rarely gets playing time, and relying on him to turn the complexion of the game around. And luckily for them, he did. So it speaks to a team that, on one hand, like I said, yes, it's December and it's January, talking about these struggles, but they need to be more crisp.
Yeah, and they do have a lot of time on their side, because they now get the wait till the playoffs thing that they've wanted for a long time. We're proving we can get it done when it matters the most. Bobby Kravitsky, thank you so much for stopping by, helping us talk a little Celtics hoop tonight before the big game against the L.A. Lakers. We're going to hit a break here on Sports Grid. We'll come back and do some Sports Millions Pick'em with you on the other side.
It's Championship Sunday. Can rookie sensation Jaden Daniels clip the Eagles' wings on his way to Super Bowl history? Then, two teams that know each other all too well face off in the AFC in the Bills and Chiefs. SportsGrid has you covered all day Sunday. Start at 8 a.m. with FST, followed by Pro Football Today, and stay with us for in-game live game day. Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think GameTime Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to GameTime Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts, so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than GameTime Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into GameTime Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Live right here on SportsGrid. It's Game Time Decisions. Kevin Walsh with you. We're going to talk some hockey in just a little bit, but there are plenty of options for the NHL board over on Sports Millions Pick'em. Let's hear a little bit about it from Tom and Joe.
Happy Thursday, everyone. It's time to jump into our Sports Millions Pick'ems. Now, Tom, we're both turning to the divisional matchups this weekend. I'll let you kick us off with what you have between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills.
We have a huge weekend of football on tap, and I want to turn to the Chiefs. Let's go to Marquise Hollywood Brown. Let's go lower than 3.5 receptions. Obviously, super late starts this season for him. We look back at the regular season, only played 2 games, 7, 8 targets. Last week, he has just 2. I'm just not expecting him to play a big role overall, given his overall snap rate and his overall target share within the Chiefs offense. For him to have 4 and go higher than 3.5, he realistically needs 6 or 7 targets, just given his catch rate. And that would be taking targets away from Xavier Worthy, Travis Kelce, even DeAndre Hopkins. I just don't see that happening. Combined with the duo that they have in the backfield, there's just not enough plays out there for Hollywood Brown to have higher than 3.5 receptions. So I have to go on the lower.
Okay, you're rolling with the lower there, and I'm going to look at the matchup between the Washington Commanders and the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, this should be a great game out. There's still question marks around Jalen Hurts and if his knee is 100%. And we know one thing that's been working for this Eagles team is Saquon Barkley. I expect Saquon Barkley to come out with force in this game and put up those rushing yards. We know in that last game out versus the LA Rams, he was able to put up 205 yards on the ground, and he should come out in this one and be able to do the same. I'm expecting him to hit close to that number that he did versus the Washington Commanders earlier this season with 150 rushing yards out there. Give me Saquon Barkley higher than 128.5 rushing yards. Tom, I know it's high, but I really don't think it's high enough for Saquon Barkley when he's going to be pivotal in this matchup, especially if Jalen Hurts' knee isn't 100%.
A huge number for Saquon, but he's obviously played a huge role. We have a trip to the Super Bowl on the line for both teams. It should be some great games.
Yeah, absolutely should be. You guys, make sure you join us back here tomorrow. We will have some more divisional matchup pick'ems for you.
All right, some NFL looks there from Tom and Joe. We'll talk some hockey with Joe in just a little bit here on Game Time Decisions. Before we look at some other the options there, let's hear a little bit more about the social casino.
Check out Sports Millions Social Casino, featuring classic slots and brand new game concepts. The Social Casino features the opportunity to win large sweepstake coins, and the games are always free to enter. Go play now at sportsmillions.com/social-casino. That's sportsmillions.com/social-casino.
All right, so on Sports Millions Pick'em tonight for that NBA board, some of the intriguing options that we've talked a little bit about. SGA, higher, 1.5 made threes. Trae Young, I think, has a huge assist night. That number is in at 10.5. Interested to see from Atlanta in the game with Toronto, how they just look as a group on a back-to-back. This has been a team in Atlanta that has played better basketball. You look at their record within the Eastern Conference, and they've got a very good chance to – this was an Atlanta team that everyone's like, look, they'll be in a play-in. They'll probably get discarded. This is an Atlanta team that's got a very good opportunity to get into one of those top 6 slots. It's not going to be easy, right? There's going to be challenges there. Detroit and Orlando, Miami are all kind of bunched up right now. I think the Pacers playing a little bit better basketball. I know they lost earlier today in Paris against Wemby, but this is an Atlanta team where the offseason chatter was trade Trae Young, and DeJounte Murray, and Clint Capella, and anybody else that has a pulse. Get them all gone. And they really only made the DeJounte Murray move. Brought over Dyson Daniels, who's very likely going to end up first-team All-NBA defense. Trae's having an all-star year, like he always does. Jalen Johnson's been a top contender for most improved. Atlanta now is in a situation where can they hit on Ricochet, their first overall draft choice? Can they make a legitimate move at some point to add some pieces around? That's further down the road, but for now it's stacking wins like they have the chance to tonight against Toronto, and I think you'll see Trae put on a great effort. Quick break here on SportsGrid, though. We'll be right back with Joe Madden breaking down the rest of the ice board here on a Thursday.
It's Championship Sunday. Can rookie sensation Jaden Daniels clip the Eagles' wings on his way to Super Bowl history? Then, two teams that know each other all too well face off in the AFC in the Bills and Chiefs. SportsGrid has you covered all day Sunday. Start at 8 a.m. with FST, followed by Pro Football Today, and stay with us for in-game live game day. Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think GameTime Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to GameTime Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than GameTime Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into GameTime Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Game time decisions right here on SportsGrid. Got to figure out this ice. It's a loaded slate. Got Joe Madden to help us out. Joe, how are we doing here on a Thursday night?
Doing pretty good, Kevin. Excited for all of this action to kick off on the ice. So games will be kicking off at the top of the hour. There's plenty of opportunities to jump in.
Certainly so. I want to start, if we can, with the game between the Rangers and the Flyers, because we have seen the Rangers, start to turn it around a little bit. Igor, I believe a pair of shutouts within two of the last three games. All of a sudden, they're home tonight, favored against Philadelphia. What do you like in this one?
I look at the New York Rangers and how they have been able to turn around, like you said, Kevin, with Igor in net. This Flyers team has been struggling offensively all season. They have some explosive games offensively, but not many. You look at them overall, and they're really limited out there. We see the New York Rangers rolling in after shutting out the Ottawa Senators 5-0, and I do think offensively they should have some success versus Urgent in this game. But I don't trust the Flyers to be able to hit Igor Shesterkin. Igor Shesterkin has just been standing so tall between the pipes, and I think in this battle here, you look at the Flyers and you look at their team total. They have a team total of 2.5, and I'll definitely hit that to the under. It's coming in at -122. I think the Rangers can nicely get the win and cover a puck line if you're looking at that, but I think the best bet is really just look at the inability of the Flyers to be able to score in this one, Kevin.
All right, so some lower scoring hockey perhaps will start us off. Joe, what about Carolina tonight? -400. Huge favorite against Columbus. I'm seeing a 6.5 right now, but a lot of juice towards the under. How do you play this one?
Yeah, major favorites here, and it's rightly so with Frederik Andersen back in goal. We know this statue of goaltender that he is out there. Now, he's been back for one start, and it was versus the Chicago Blackhawks. They were able to record the win. I look at Columbus here, and I know this team has had their struggles on the road, but I'm expecting them to hit Frederik Andersen in this game. I think starting him versus the Chicago Blackhawks was an easy start. We know the Chicago Blackhawks don't put up as much pressure as the Columbus Blue Jackets will in this game tonight. So I'm looking for Columbus to find a way to hit his goal. Over 2.5 goals coming in at +130. I do think this is a 4-3 style win. here for the Carolina Hurricanes. So that puts us over the 2.5 for Columbus. And then it doesn't cover any sort of puck lines here for the Carolina Hurricanes. I do think this is a live betting opportunity. If we do see either Columbus go up first, we're still not going to get much value, Kevin, on the Hurricanes to come back on that money line. We might get a tiny bit, but I don't think enough even on that puck line plus 1.5. I do think it's worth, though, if Columbus goes down, looking at them plus the 2.5 on the puck line.
Now, Joe, one game that kind of jumped off the page when I saw the number was Ottawa and Boston. Now, I can't probably explain to people the why, but seeing the Bruins at home as a dog, all right, something's up here, right? I know that they are on a back-to-back. I can tell you definitively in the NBA, that weighs a lot into a number. Is this a product of Boston being on the second leg, or do we have some key absences in this one?
You know, it is the second night of a back-to-back. There's a couple of players on injury here for Boston, but not enough to make a huge impact. The huge impact is Korpisalo coming in tonight instead of Swayman. Korpisalo just has not looked like the goaltender that we all expected. And we look at this Ottawa Senators team. They've been able to play such strong hockey. They've been able to lock teams down defensively. One of the best NHL teams to the under this season, which I never would have expected out of the Ottawa Senators. Now, Forsberg is expected to get the start in net for them tonight. And I do think with what we saw out of them back on their last matchup where the Ottawa Senators got that 6-5 win, absolute pond hockey out there, that we're going to see the first period start off very similar in this one, Kevin. I'm looking for both teams to score in the first period. We're getting great plus money at plus 184. If you just want to look at the over 1.5 in the first period, it's coming in at minus 102. The Ottawa Senators have struggled in Boston. They've only won 3 of the last 12 meetings here. They won that last matchup just a couple of days ago. So when you look at that, you got to think Boston is ripe to get revenge here on their own home ice. It's just a hard situation for them. Second night of a back-to-back with the Avs on deck on Saturday. Boston could be in a situation here where they do fall to the Ottawa Senators. So I think you look at both teams to score. Ottawa being shut out in their last game, and the Boston Bruins held to only 1 goal last night versus the Devils.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense to me. That total for the full game checks in at 5.5. Montreal, dog at Detroit. Some value on the Canadians?
Absolutely. Montreal's pulled off wins in their last 7 games as a dog, Kevin. They've been rolling so hot. Now they face the Detroit Red Wings. Now, the Red Wings have lost their last 3. This team is going to be hungry to get back on track. Cam Talbot in goal. He's a strong goaltender, but you can't pass up on the value you're getting right now on the Montreal Canadiens. They've already won both meetings so far this season, and they've won them in a high-scoring fashion. They've been able to put up the goals. Battle of the Atlantic, you're going to get the best out of Montreal tonight versus the Red Wings. I do think this one will trend to that over. The total sitting at 5.5. I expect a 4-3 style win with Montreal coming out on top of it.
And then let me ask you, Joe, with Vegas tonight as a road favorite here against St. Louis. The Golden Knights, always one of the premier teams. Is this a good spot to be backing them here on the road?
It is. Now, we've got to note this is the first night of a back-to-back for them with the Dallas Stars on deck tomorrow. So a harder opponent on deck tomorrow, but in the fashion that the St. Louis Blues won on Monday, 5-4 shootout win over the Vegas Golden Knights. This is a sudden revenge angle here for the Vegas Golden Knights. They're going to want to come out nice and strong in this matchup and get the win. I'm expecting them in that first period to go up right away. Joe Hofer is confirmed in net tonight for the St. Louis Blues, and I think they get the best of them. So you look at the puck line here for the Vegas Golden Knights, laying a half a goal in the first period, coming in at plus 154. Instead of that full game, in case St. Louis gets back into it at the end, now you have to circle Jack Eichel tonight. Jack Eichel missed an empty net in that last game, which would have sealed them the win. So I'm looking for Jack Eichel to be frustrated with himself, for one, and come out and get on the board. Jack Eichel's plus 190 for the anytime goal. 2+ points I wanted to back, but not enough value. It's coming in at plus 200. I won't be shocked, though, if he comes out and gets 2 goals in this one. He is so hot this season. And in that last one, Kevin, he's frustrated.
Yeah, we're talking again some NHL here with Joe Mad. We're going to keep Joe around. Make sure we get through this whole card. Maybe ask her a little bit about some of the NFL games this weekend as well. Another player prop that you're on is in the game between Calgary and Buffalo.
Yeah, looking at the matchup between Calgary and Buffalo, this is a really hard one to jump on a side. Buffalo's rolled into Calgary and played so phenomenally strong, but Dustin Wolf in net tonight, and Calgary returning from a home trip. They're in a bad situational spot, 4-game road trip, and then they're back out on the road after this game. So I don't want to back Calgary, but there's not enough value for me right now on the Buffalo Sabres. I'm looking at Tage Thompson for the anytime goal here for the Buffalo Sabres. He's coming in at plus 170. I think you could look at Rasmus Dahlin as well. Tage Thompson has been so strong scoring in the last 4 meetings versus the Calgary Flames. And then when we look at Calgary, Nazem Kadri was held off the board in the matchup, all of the matchups out there on the ice, all 4 of them. So what I did, I kind of played around with it. I took Nazem Kadri and Huberdeau both for a point. Kevin, parlaying them both for the point, you're getting slight plus money.
All right, so perhaps we then can get a couple of other options on that board. We'll throw Eichel in, we'll have some fun with the whole thing. We have a few other games to get to. We have Edmonton on this slate here as well, San Jose, Nashville. We're going to get to all of this with Joe. And again, a little bit about the NFL this weekend. We're going to have a few conversations on tonight's NFL board. Tom will join us in about a half hour or so. We'll get his thoughts on Philadelphia and Washington. And, of course, the game everybody's waiting for, Kansas City, Buffalo, Mahomes versus Allen. Once again, a trip to the Super Bowl is on the line. We're taking a break, and we'll be right back here with you on SportsGrid. It's Game Time Decisions.
It's Championship Sunday. Can rookie sensation Jaden Daniels clip the Eagles' wings on his way to Super Bowl history? Then, 2 teams that know each other all too well face off in the AFC in the Bills and Chiefs. SportsGrid has you covered all day Sunday. Start at 8 a.m. with FST, followed by Pro Football Today, and stay with us for in-game live game day. Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, back with you right here on Game Time Decisions. Let's button up this NHL board with Joe Madden and then talk a little NFL before we let her get out of here. Joe, tonight, Edmonton and Vancouver. The Oilers, always a popular choice. Any action for you in that game?
Kevin, who's going to stay out of the box in this one? This is going to be a hard-hitting physical game. Both of these teams upset with how that last game went. The Vancouver Canucks were able to get the 3-2 win. In the process of doing so, we saw Connor McDavid get suspended for 3 games, and we also saw Tyler Miles get suspended for 3 games. Both of these teams upset with everything that happened in that game. And one thing we can look at and count on when Connor McDavid is out of the lineup, I do think Edmonton has the ability still to get the win. They're too juicy on the money line right now, so I've circled Leon Draisaitl. Leon Draisaitl on the ice without Connor McDavid averages 1.5 points per game. With Connor McDavid, he's averaging only 1.33. And I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but it is a huge difference out there. Look for Leon Draisaitl to really step up. He got those only 2 goals that Edmonton was able to get in that last game versus Vancouver in the second period. One was unassisted, one was assisted by Connor McDavid. And I do think you look at him to come out and get those goals on the board tonight. Looking at him for 2+ points, the books think it's coming in at plus 106, so not enough value for me. The anytime goals plus 120, the 2+ goals worth a sprinkle at plus 750. And if you don't think he'll end up on the box and be able to be on the power play, plus 115 for that power play point, Kevin.
Yeah, I do think that is one of the fascinating things, right, where you take McDavid out, you go, oh my goodness, that's going to be, Leon's going to have the puck the whole game. It's like, no, I'd rather play with McDavid. He'll make life easy on me. Yeah. It's interesting how those numbers kind of shift. Let's get to the 2 late games here. We'll start with Seattle and Washington. The Caps, a slight road favorite in this one.
Yeah, slight road favorite, and I'm looking for a defensive matchup between these two. We know the Seattle Kraken have struggled to find the back of the net all season, Kevin, and they do fight back in these games, even if they go down in that first period. They never give up. But I'm looking at the Washington Capitals with Charlie Lindgren in net. They've been so strong defensively and in goal. I think the Seattle Kraken absolutely struggle to score in this one. I think we see a first period that we stay under the 1.5. Not my favorite bet. Normally the under 1.5 until we start looking at teams like this. So the under 1.5 in the first period coming in at minus 116. And then I think you do isolate the Seattle Kraken. They have a team total of 2.5, and I don't think they're able to go against Charlie Lindgren and be able to light the lamp 3 times in this one. So the under 2.5, we're getting slight money, plus money at plus 106, and I'll definitely hit on that. We'll have to see the Washington Capitals really lock down here on Jared McCann, and then they have every ability to keep them under that total.
And then, Joe, final game on this slate. Can we get some goals in San Jose and Nashville?
San Jose and Nashville, we should be able to get the goals. You look at the San Jose Sharks, and they have been playing in these games where they've been putting up the goals. They've lost their last 4, but they're at home in this one. Tyler Toffoli's still listed as day-to-day. We might see him back on the ice, but Celebrini has been coming out nice and strong. We know Saros has allowed those goals. The Nashville Predators seem to get up nice and fast in these games, but let opponents back in the game. So I would look at this one over the 5.5. That's at minus 138. I do think it's a 4-3 style game, so if you want to ult it to over 6.5, Kevin, I would sign up for it all day. And I just want to remind you that Kaprizov is back on the ice for the Minnesota Wild. Give me Kaprizov for the anytime goal tonight, parlayed with Minnesota Wild to get the win, and you're going to get great value there.
All right. Now, Joe, let me ask you before we let you get out of here. 2 huge games this Sunday. I'll start with Kansas City and Buffalo because that's the big one. Have you found any value yet in this game, a prop aside, anything that you're starting to target?
You know, this is the hardest game, right? Because you look at it, it's the Kansas City Chiefs, and they always seem to find a way. So many people wanting to see them get the three-peat, and I'm just not sure if they're able to do it. I am counting on Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. It hasn't been a recipe that has been successful, though, because the Kansas City Chiefs just always find a way to get things done. I'm going to look at the Buffalo Bills to come out strong and be able to cover the spread in the first half, straight up on the money line in the first half as well, Kevin. I want nothing to do with the full game, but I would look at Josh Allen to be able to run one in himself. He is playing like Superman out there, and I do think you can count on him to give it everything. Leave it all out there on the table today, and hopefully the Buffalo Bills are able to knock out the Kansas City Chiefs. Sorry, Chiefs fans, I have to say it.
Have you found anything you like in the game between Philly and Washington yet that'll start off the Sunday?
You know what? I'm waiting for this number to keep moving. We've seen this total or the spread of 5.5 move up to 6.5, and I think a lot more people are going to be coming in on the Eagles, and we're going to see maybe a 7.5 out there, Kevin. I do think the Washington Commanders, with how Jaden Daniels has been playing, is a great Cinderella team out there to be in the position that they're at right now. Their win total was 8.5, and they flew over that. They've been so strong this season, and I would love to see them be able to advance. Now, the Eagles are such a strong team, especially defensively and with Saquon Barkley, that it's really hard to think the Washington Commanders can pull it off. But I tell you, there's something special about this team right now. They're playing with nothing to lose. I think they have more the mentality that they're in this situation and I don't know. No one's going to be disappointed, right, if the Washington Commanders lose. So everyone will be disappointed if the Philadelphia Eagles lose in this situation. So I'm going to grab the Commanders. I'm hoping to get a 7.5. If I don't, I'll still grab the plus 6.5. That's minus 120 right now. Saquon Barkley, though, I'm all over him to go as high as you want to take him on those rushing props. I think he just goes off in this game. Austin Eckler, I will look at on the other side.
I know you say no one will be disappointed if Washington loses.
Except for Washington.
Means you haven't spoke to Joe Lisi. He'll be very disappointed if the Commanders can't get the job done, and that's all right. Lisi and disappointment. Jaden Daniels, it always finds its level. Joe, we appreciate it, though. Best of luck on the ice tonight.
Thank you. Best of luck to everyone out there, too.
We will be talking more in a little bit about these postseason teams, the playoff leaders. There's some very interesting spots, some terrible numbers out there as well. Really bad. I'm looking at you, Derrick Henry. Can we talk a little Travis Hunter for the people? And some movement around the NFL draft and the number one pick? That's next right here on SportsGrid.
It's Championship Sunday. Can rookie sensation Jaden Daniels clip the Eagles' wings on his way to Super Bowl history? Then, two teams that know each other all too well face off in the AFC in the Bills and Chiefs. SportsGrid has you covered all day Sunday. Start at 8 a.m. with FST, followed by Pro Football Today, and stay with us for in-game live game day. Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think GameTime Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to GameTime Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than GameTime Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into GameTime Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Live with you right here on SportsGrid, Game Time Decisions. Just want to quickly go through the NBA card for you, and then we're going to talk some NFL. Just to reset it, and I do want to take a look for that SGA number. Trae Young, over 13.5 rebounds plus assists. That number's now at even money. We're taking SGA to make two threes, possibly. I'm still waiting to see if that number gets posted. I am taking Bam to make one at plus 105. Jokic for 50 PRA. Warriors first quarter money line, that's at minus 115. I'm on the Celtics team total at over 111.5. So there's been some movement in the NFL draft market already. That is common. There's always going to be movement. The Tennessee Titans, though, who hold the first overall pick, many assume will look to take quarterback, which makes a lot of sense. They fired their GM this offseason and brought in someone new. You would think that they're probably looking to pair the general manager and the quarterback. They didn't fire Callahan after 1 year, though, which I do think is interesting. Will Levis has certainly does not played himself into holding off this decision for Tennessee. But we started to hear from the Titans that just because they need a quarterback doesn't mean that they will pass on a generational talent. They're looking at Travis Hunter. It has to be. I mean, maybe they think Abdul Carter's next world special. He might be. Abdul Carter is also trying to see if he can tweet himself into going to the Eagles. I don't think it's possible, though I appreciate it. There's been a lot of movement on Travis. So in September, he's around 20-1 to go first overall. And I think most people would have thought that if you clicked on that, you were probably wasting money. Because it's always going to be a quarterback. Plus, like, is Travis really going to live up to that billing? And Travis had moved some due to his excellent season at Colorado, but not enough. Because the Titans had the first pick, and he was 12-1. Then all of a sudden, there was some buzz, plus 450. Then Adam Schefter even came over the top a little bit more, talking about Travis Hunter and the Tennessee Titans and this idea that they are not exclusively going to look at quarterback. Cam Ward is still the favorite at plus 105. Hunter is plus 155. Shadur 410. And Abdul Carter is the only other player underneath a 40-1 barrier. It's very interesting, Tatario McMillan, that's not happening. The Titans are not drafting McMillan at first overall. Will Campbell or Calvin Banks would be more believable if they wanted to go on the offensive line. But that doesn't seem to be the case. And realistically, if Tennessee wanted to go to the offensive side or the offensive line, they'd trade out, right? They trade out, they draft 4th, 5th, 6th, whatever it might be, and take Campbell or Calvin Banks or whatever it might be. What's very interesting, though, about this report is the Titans, we know, are not going to go forward with Will Levis as their quarterback. But it doesn't mean their quarterback has to be Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. The Titans absolutely could attack in free agency. There are going to be options out there. There just will be. Whether that's the potentially very cheap options of Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers, the very expensive option of Brock Purdy, the kind of expensive option of Sam Darnold, that's on the board for Tennessee. I'm not saying their fan base will be over the moon about it. I'm not saying it would be the right decision. What I'm saying is the Tennessee Titans' options at quarterback are not exclusively the draft, especially because of the conversations around Ward/Sanders/Dart/Milrow/Ewers. If this was Caleb Williams, if this was Trevor Lawrence, this would be minus 1,000, and there would be no conversation to have. If the Titans pass on quarterback, they won't be crushed for it. And if the Titans believe that Travis Hunter is generational, and if the Titans draft Hunter at 1, I think Hunter would be very excited about that. Because I still believe Travis Hunter will not go to a franchise that is not willing to let him play both sides of the football. If the Titans take Travis Hunter at 1, they are doing so to let him play both sides of the football. Don't bet Travis now at plus 155, but keep your eyes peeled because this first overall market will be moving a lot. A little more football for you on this Thursday next.
It's Championship Sunday. Can rookie sensation Jaden Daniels clip the Eagles' wings on his way to Super Bowl history? Then, two teams that know each other all too well face off in the AFC in the Bills and Chiefs. SportsGrid has you covered all day Sunday. Start at 8 a.m. with FST, followed by Pro Football Today, and stay with us for in-game live game day. Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think GameTime Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to GameTime Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than GameTime Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
We're live with you right here on SportsGrid. It is Game Time Decisions. The NBA board, a lot of my focus for tonight, in case you missed it, Trae Young over 13.5 rebounds plus assists. I love that one. I like Bam Adebayo over a half a made three at plus 105. Jokic for 50 PRA. The Celtics team total at 111.5 to the over, and the Warriors first quarter money line. I am still waiting to play Shai Gilgeous-Alexander made threes prop. Time will tell if we get to the window on that. Can we get to the window on any of the playoff leader markets? The most interesting playoff leader market to me is receiving yards. Right now, using the FanDuel market, Terry McLaurin is your favorite at plus 154. A stunning De'Ami Brown is your second choice at plus 340. I did not see that coming. De'Ami Brown is booked with a 44.5 number here in the game against Philadelphia. But the Commanders are dogs in this game. So the expectation, if favorites hold, is Brown is only going to have one more chance at it. And his teammate in McLaurin, the favorite, is booked 20 yards ahead of him. Now, De'Ami Brown is currently the leader of players still remaining. He's up by 11 yards right now on Terry McLaurin. The next closest active player is Khalil Shakir at 128. Incredibly, the next highest player is Travis Kelce at 117. Kelce's number was 31-1 to lead this market before the opening round. Kelce is now on FanDuel at plus 420, and at other books, a lower price than that. Kelce does make sense if you like Kansas City against Buffalo. But you don't only need to like him against Buffalo. You do need to like Philadelphia. What I would say, though, is if you love Washington against Philly, don't worry about Brown or McLaurin. Just bet Washington. Bet Washington, bet their money line, bet their spread, bet their alt spread. Go do that. The McLaurin, Miami, Brown numbers before that game are not for you. I do think that Brown and McLaurin in a loss will become interesting options. I think it is expected that McLaurin specifically will go into the Super Bowl leading the NFL in postseason receiving yards. He is, at the moment, 27 yards behind Nico Collins, who still has a number at 150 to 1. Rightfully so. It's not going to be Nico Collins. But if you see the Super Bowl hold at the Eagles, right? So Philly's leading receiving yards, guys. Goddard at 103, Devonta Smith 76, Saquon Barkley at 31. Yeah, that's how things are going for A.J. Brown. He's at 24 yards. So, realistically, I think McLaurin, even in a loss, would be anticipated to finish with more yards than anyone on Philadelphia. The target guys for Buffalo and Kansas City, it's Kelsey, it's Khalil Shakir. You're kind of grasping at straws if you go beyond that. For Buffalo, the next closest player is Curtis Samuel at 77. Then it's Dalton Kincaid at 58. For Kansas City, it's Xavier Worthy at 45. And you got to go a long way to find another Kansas City Chief. I believe it's Noah Gray at 13. So what I would look for in this market, especially as somebody who expects the Eagles to beat the Washington Commanders on Sunday, would be McLaurin or Brown to lead the postseason in receiving yards at a potential great number heading into the Super Bowl. Because let's say they're up on Kelsey by 50 yards. That would be a pretty tempting plus price you should be able to get on McLaurin for Kelsey to not get through it. I understand Kelsey would be favored to get through it, but you're going to get a big ticket item. Or Khalil Shakir to not get through 40 yards. He'll be expected to get through it, but you might be able to get a nice big ticket item. I would not want to bet McLaurin at plus 150 or even Brown at plus 340. I would bet Brown if he was like 15 to 1. He's nowhere near that. So that, to me, did not jump off the page. What is interesting is the receiving touchdown market completely up for grabs. There's only two players with 2 receiving touchdowns. It's McLaurin and Bateman. And Bateman is done, right? From a Buffalo perspective, none of the top guys have caught a touchdown. It's Curtis Samuel and Ty Johnson. So if Buffalo makes it, way up for grabs. For Kansas City, it was only Kelsey who caught the touchdown. For Philadelphia, Goddard has one. Jahan Dotson has one. So you have McLaurin. He's booked as the favorite. We know why he's booked as the favorite. He has 2. If he scores this weekend, he's at 3. You maybe get a piece of the pie. But I think this is a market that you can fly down the board and hope things break your way. Whether that's A.J. Brown at 18 to 1, whether that's Dalton Kincaid at 65 to 1, Xavier Worthy at 55 to 1. I think this is a market I much prefer taking some shots in. Because if Kincaid can catch 2 in a victory against KC and McLaurin doesn't catch one, you're basically guaranteed a piece of the pot. You'll be holding a huge number going into the Super Bowl, right? Same with Xavier Worthy. Or if Kincaid catches 1, right, and you go, all right, well, I just need another to get a piece of the pot in the Super Bowl if McLaurin doesn't catch one, right? So that's kind of where I would look at in that receiving touchdown market. The passing yards market
The bet to me it depends who you like. But I will say, if you like Philly and Buffalo, the Josh Allen number then has to be very tempting. Josh Allen here at plus 250, it is that moneyline parlay of the Eagles and the Bills is comfortably shorter than that. Josh Allen, if he makes it past Kansas City, is obviously going to finish, ahead of Mahomes. He's comfortably ahead of him now and has another game, right? Also, look at the Hurts number. Hurts is well behind and not expected to be a legitimate threat in the passing yards. So the question then is Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels is up on Josh Allen by, I believe, 168 yards. You don't think Josh Allen, if he gets an extra game, would close that gap? I mean, certainly at a plus 250 number, I think in that passing yard market, it becomes very interesting. I'll just say this, the rushing touchdown market, that Derrick Henry number is abysmal. Don't get cute. Do not get cute. Don't even think about it. He has 3 rushing touchdowns. Why would you bet that? Allen and Saquon both have 2. Brian Robinson has 2. And Hurts has 1. In what world is your best case scenario not splitting a portion of a plus 280? That's not happening. Don't bet that number. That's the best I can tell you. We got Tom Vecchio stopping by next here on Game Time Decisions.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
The 2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, live with you right here. It is Game Time Decisions. Kevin Walsh with you, joined by Tom Vecchio. Tom, great to have you here as we get ready for a huge, huge weekend in the NFL postseason?
I'm doing great, of course. Thanks for having me. Yeah, 2 awesome games this weekend. I think we're in for a modest amount of scoring. I don't think we're in for dead unders. I don't think we're in for clear overs. When it comes to Kansas City, Buffalo, I think we're in for a 24-23 game, maybe a late field goal or a missed extra point, 23-20, somewhere right around there. We'll be close to the number. Also, in terms of the total and the spread. And then for Eagles, I think the Eagles come away with a victory. I'm going to say 28-21 or 28-24. We're in for some scoring.
All right, so you like some points in that game. We'll talk more about these games, kind of some big picture stuff that you and I were talking during the break. But tell me that if you like points in the one between Philly and Washington, how's that impacting some of your card?
I think we want to keep things really simple. Ultimately, we know where the ball is going for the most part when it comes to Washington. I don't think Brian Robinson has been, superb. I just don't think they have a good running game overall. I think it's going to turn into a passing game. And obviously, Terry McLaurin is the player you want to be going to. Also, De'Ami Brown, I specifically like him over 3.5 receptions. I tweeted that on Sunday night when I was doing the recap show after the games ended. But I think it has to start with Jaden Daniels. And what we've seen from their offense for basically the majority of the season is what? Getting the ball out of his hands quickly, moving it effectively down the field, picking up first downs. That is what Cliff Kingsbury has built the offense around, is picking up completions, essentially. And that's what we have seen. So I like him over 21.5 completions to start. That's where I want to, because, again, they're going to be playing from behind, at least the way I'm anticipating this game going. And they're going to have to move the ball through the air because I don't think Brian Robinson is that amazing, nor do I think he has a very good matchup. So Daniels picking up the completions has to be where things start. Then we're going to get to, what is the pecking order for the Commanders' offense? It's going to be Terry McLaurin and then probably De'Ami Brown and Zach Ertz as a 2A, 2B. Now, we see some of the McLaurin numbers and lines. They are obviously very refined. They're very heavily bet on the Washington side, considering we do see the spread that opened up at 4.5. It has gotten to 6.5 at this point. So if they are going to be playing from behind, who's the ball going to be going to? Their top receiver.
Do you worry at all that Philly might have Jaden Daniels' number? Because I think that would be a consensus talking point if Devonta Smith caught that football that would have ended the game in their second meeting. Because the worst game Jaden Daniels probably has played in the NFL came against the Eagles in Philly on that Thursday night. Do you think there could be anything to that?
So that was the game I was in studio for. We did that. Eagles came away with the win. Very exciting. When I was on the early line on Tuesday with Donnie and Joe Ranieri, he asked me the same, similar question. It's does this benefit a side either more? Does it benefit Daniels because he's seen the defense a couple times? Does it benefit the defense because they've seen a rookie quarterback now about to be a third time? Some of that matters. It absolutely does. But if, the same point I make a lot of times is Daniels can get the yards and have a successful game in terms of hitting overs. They're not going to win the game, but he can still hit overs just because they're playing from behind, and attrition essentially will get him there. He will simply pile up yards and completions, regardless of how good the defense is on Philly, which I do think it is the best among the remaining teams. He's going to pick up yards just because he has to throw the ball. Not going to say it's super effective or he dominated the defense. He picks up the yards because he picks up yards.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying there. I'm curious if he can continue to play clean football. He hasn't thrown a pick yet in the postseason, but he was turning the football over a little bit from kind of that, early December, late November on. And the turnover battle's a big thing. The Eagles turned over Jordan Love with 3 interceptions. I don't know how try not to get angry. Stafford, though, apparently, God's gift to quarterback, played this great game, turned it over about 1,000 times against the Eagles. But imagine if Hurts did that, the conversations we'd be having. My, oh, my. Have you been able to find any numbers on Philly that make sense? Because I think it's a very tricky thing to bet. All the rushing numbers are super high.
Yeah.
They are largely unstoppable on the run. Washington is bad at defending the run. So it's I'm going to take Saquon over because maybe. I don't know how you could really. It's very difficult to me right now when I've been staring at these Eagles props.
So when it comes to the Eagles, I had this conversation this morning on the early line with Ben and Donnie, and there's one bet to make. I think that you could make it and say, I'm confident in this. And it's not A.J. Brown, and it's not Devonta Smith, it's not Dallas Goedert. We can talk about, the Eagles are not passing the ball at a high rate or effectively with Hurts. What's the one play? And I think you did it last week as one of your best bets for last week, which was Saquon over longest rush. right? I think it was 19.5 last week. You spoke about it. It was 21. It's up to 23 now. If you don't want to play over 125 yards over on his combined yards, I understand that. 24.5 carries is insane. But the longest rush, if he's going to break off these rush attempts that he has going for 50, 60 yards, not like just 20 or 30. He's breaking them off for 60, 70 yards. He could get to over 23.5 longest rushing attempt. That's one I really like for Saquon.
So that is the issue for me, and the only reason I won't be betting it is entirely because it was my best bet on Sunday, and I should have just I should have put more on it then. You know what I mean? Like it was one of those things like they dropped the number too much. It was 19.5. It closed 21.5. But that's where, like, funny enough, like you talk about long plays. If I end up on an Eagle prop at now, it may be different when we get to Sunday, it's going to be the Hurts long completion because there's a level of due within that market. But I'll tell you, here's a funny one, Tom. I'm a scorned bettor. I bet that when he threw against Pittsburgh the whole game. And it is easily the most yards he's ever thrown for in his career without clearing that long completion prop. So I'm still a little stuck in my head about that one. Let me ask you something quickly. Are you betting the NBA tonight at all?
I spoke about one prop really quickly on the early line was P.J. Washington over 14.5 points. I'm not sure if that has moved, obviously. Just the uncertainty with Kyrie. Listen, P.J. Washington's at least out there. He's taking field goal attempts. I think he's a better scoring option than Daniel Gafford down low.
Yeah.
And they're going to need the points to keep up. That's what it comes down to.
I in part also asked you that question so I can place a bet myself. Got what I wanted. SGA 2+3s -125. Much better than the -140, -150s you're seeing elsewhere. That is on FanDuel. Streaky shooter made 3 against Utah. Makes 2 tonight in the game against Dallas that Tom was just mentioning. We're going to keep Tom around. We come back. Chiefs, Bills, what do we do? We'll ask Tom next right here on SportsGrid.
It's Championship Sunday. Can rookie sensation Jaden Daniels clip the Eagles' wings on his way to Super Bowl history? Then, 2 teams that know each other all too well face off in the AFC in the Bills and Chiefs. SportsGrid has you covered all day Sunday. Start at 8 a.m. with FST, followed by Pro Football Today, and stay with us for in-game live game day. Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think GameTime Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to GameTime Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than GameTime Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into GameTime Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Back right here, it's GameTime Decisions. I got to tell you, talking with Tom a little bit during the break, if I wasn't such a pro,
we would just ditch this Chiefs-Bills game. I like what I'm hearing from Tom, respecting some key members of the Philadelphia Eagles. But if there's time, we'll get there. Tom, talk to me a little bit here, man. Kansas City and Buffalo. Are you finding value in this one early on?
Yeah, there's value across the board. And when I'm looking at this game, like, I think ultimately the way the Bills win this, if they were to win this, I think this game is a pure coin flip. The way the Bills win this is keeping the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands, right? They don't want the ball to be in his hands, 3 minutes left, 2 minutes left, whatever, driving down the field. They hit a field goal to win. As I kind of mentioned at the top, this game could be 23-20 or 24-23, somewhere around there. So what does that mean? That means we're going to see a lot of ground game for the Bills. So I don't necessarily like Cook to have a big game, not because he's going to be quote-unquote bad, but because Ty Johnson is involved and Ray Davis involved. So piling up the carry attempts just as a team overall, not for one specific player, I think is a route to go for the Bills. So if that's going to be the case for the Bills, at least in my mind, what their game plan is going to be, it's not going to be a whole lot of passing. And it would lead me to Keon Coleman under 23.5 receiving yards. We've seen him play a limited role throughout the majority of the season. Now, when you look at some of his stats, there are games where he has 1 catch on 3 targets, 1 catch on 4 targets, whatever it might be. And these catches are deep down the field. Like, he can have 1 catch for 30 or 40 yards. So it may be a little bit risky for some people knowing that he can break off these big plays and have literally 1 catch and go through his prop. However, I'm buying into the fact that I just don't know how many bites at the apple he's going to have in this game overall.
Yeah, I think the Buffalo pass attack is a tricky one to figure out. I think ultimately the Buffalo box score was an odd one from the game against Baltimore, right? It's like they scored 27 points. It didn't feel like their offense was playing poorly. Like, you can feel that the Kansas City offense is completely overrated, in a slog, and all of that stuff. It didn't feel that way for Buffalo, but people weren't shining. What are you playing on the KC side of the game?
On the KC side, it's going to be Marquise Hollywood-Brown under 3.5 receptions, and it's kind of the same thing where they're going to have a modest ground game just because they do. We know the ball's going to Travis Kelce. It should be going to Xavier Worthy. And then when it comes to Hollywood-Brown, 2 targets last week. He had 7 and 8 in the 2 regular season games that he played. But just if we look historically at his catch rate and just the type of player that he is, in order for him to go over 3.5 and have 4 receptions, he needs to legitimately have, I'm going to say at a minimum, 6 targets. More likely 7. Probably that's where I would essentially project him to have at least 4 receptions on 7 or 8 targets. And that means targets are coming away from someone else. And given the fact that we have seen, obviously, D-Hop not playing a massive snap share overall, but we do see Noah Gray involved when we do a double tight end set, and obviously Xavier Worthy is there. Juju played 41% of the snaps last week. So it's just too dispersed across the board for Kansas City to say, like, this player is going to have 8 targets and 4 receptions, and he's going to cash that. There's just no way for me to buy into that.
Yeah, it does look a little high, just considering the way KC attacks. I will say, you playing under receptions sits better with me because I'm going to be looking for passing yards all over this game. You just have a very, I don't want to be dramatic, but it feels like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. For a lot of people, the 2 best quarterbacks in the NFL are going head-to-head in a conference championship game, and they both threw for under 200 yards in their prior game. Like, I'm a bounce-back spot guy, Tom. That's the first time Mahomes has ever thrown for under 200 in his playoff career. Mahomes typically doesn't leave a playoff, a singular postseason, without a game of 300 passing yards. Josh threw for 260 in the earlier meeting. I know he's had some low games. He's also had some bounce-back games. I also think Kansas City is going to bring out a little bit more of them. We know the fireworks that they typically have when they play one another. So I've not placed it yet. Somewhat because I don't even know if I care what the number is. That's not the best bit of capping you'll ever hear from me, but it's how I'm feeling right now. It's going to be a combined passing yards total, I think, Tom, between Mahomes and Josh.
Would that be a game special, or would that be like an SGP, both going for 250 plus, 275 plus?
So on DK, they do the passing yards head-to-head, but then it gets to the total. So it's 481.5, which... again, like if Mahomes throws for 300 and Josh throws for $180 and I lose by 2, all right, fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let it be. I feel it is more likely that one of these guys hits 300 than either one of them is under 200 again. So that's kind of where I'm at heading into this one. I'm excited to watch it play out. I absolutely am. Tom, always good to talk.
and I'm sure we'll round it out again next week once these games are finished up.
Absolutely. Let's go Saquon, 5.5 to 1 to win Super Bowl MVP. Now before they win.
All right, good stuff there from Tom Beckett. We'll be right back here on SportsGrid.
History. Then, two teams that know each other all too well face off in the AFC in the Bills and Chiefs. SportsGrid has you covered all day Sunday. Start at 8 a.m. with FST, followed by Pro Football Today, and stay with us for in-game live game day. Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think GameTime Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to GameTime Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than GameTime Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into GameTime Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, back with you right here on SportsGrid. Let me just quickly reset the NBA card before everything tips off because we did get to place our SGA bet as we were talking to Tom. Over 1.5 threes, 2 plus threes, minus 125 is that number over on FanDuel. Let's see if it moved since the open. I'm really happy with that. It's nice to see a process kind of work out. It's still sitting right there, but you figure if their open number would open lower, and it did. So we're on the SGA number. We're on Trae Young over 13.5 rebounds plus assists. This was minus 135 when I bet this between 4 and 6 hours ago. I'd have to look at the actual slot. It was minus 135. It dropped to even money. That's great for me. That becomes the best bet because now I don't have to lay outrageous juice. I like it more. So I'm on Trae Young over 13.5 rebounds plus assists. I'm on Bam Adebayo to make it 3 at plus 105. I think you can get a little bit better. Let me see. That number's not over on FT. That number I only saw on DK. You guys probably know by now that's mostly where I try and look at. Yeah, you can get plus 115 and plus 124 you can get on Bam now. So you can get a better number. He's 6-1 to make 2. If you want to, take a shot, little sprinkle, maybe you can get that through the door. We also have Jokic over the 49.5 PRA. This was a best bet on Tuesday. I then, hand up, didn't realize one of the reasons the Jokic numbers were light, he wasn't playing in the fourth quarter. It happened again against Philly. Luckily, fortunately, he gets the 50 PRA in 3 quarters, doesn't have to play in the fourth against Philadelphia. But Jokic is still, that means dominating. You just are waiting for him to play in the fourth quarter to get to 60, 65 PRA. So I wouldn't be scared of playing some Jokic alts, quite frankly. Maybe a better bet actually, than playing. Let me see what that checks in at right now. Like a 60-plus PRA number on Jokic, where maybe you play that a few times. Plus 340, 7-1 for 65, 14-1 if you want to climb that 70 ladder, if you really want. But we're on them at the 49.5. Celtics, that team total at 111.5. It's up a little bit because everybody's playing. Warriors first quarter money line. Rarely will you see a best bet for me be a first quarter play. Golden State loses by 40, right, to Boston. They cover against Sacramento. They can't get the win. They're now home tonight against the Bulls, who are on a road trip. The Bulls on the road trip, opening games, nightmare. Warriors win that first quarter on the money line at minus 115. We have Dave Sharapan with us here. And Dave, decked out in some attire that certainly suggests you're interested in the NFC title game. But really, when it comes to you never know if the attire means you're on a side, you're trying to curse a side, or probably you're just trying to rile me up here on a Thursday.
I don't get to see you on Fridays, so I know that this will be the last time I get to see you before the game.
Right.
So I just wanted to make sure that, if you're going to get riled up on a Thursday, it might as well be today. I mean, I could have come on wearing Eagles green, but everybody's wearing Eagles green this week. Have you found anybody that likes Washington plus the points?
Stop. I mean, who are you talking to? Who are you talking to?
I'm out in Vegas. It lines up to 6.5. There's nobody taking it. And, I mean, it's going to be the biggest need for the books on Sunday.
Is what?
Is Washington.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Oh, are you kidding me?
No, it's
They're
not.
laying.
No,
Everybody's laying.
See, by the way, that's how it should be. They opened an atrocious 4.5 number to start. So that's their fault, okay?
They didn't know if Hurts was okay.
Was that it? Was that it, or was it a little of that Kool-Aid?
If we're going to the NFC Championship with Kenny Pickett, it's a different number than it is with Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, some people tell you it's a higher number with Kenny Pickett.
More points?
That's what people say, not me. Certainly not me.
Cold too long.
He's a bit of a star. Here's what I'm saying, Dave. And I know that you always say beware of these, but I know the little FanDuel statistic thing tells me that they're getting whacked with Washington bets. Donnie's got 700 screens in front of him. He's telling me they're getting whacked with Washington bets.
You believe that stuff? Told you about that stuff.
Yeah. Listen, again, I don't know. It kind of falls in line with what I'm seeing, though. Again, like, who's the public darling?
My glasses.
Who's the public darling? Jaden Daniels, the rookie who went into Detroit and put on a show, or Jalen Hurts? Come on.
Don't get territorial, or whatever that word is that we've been accused of being too.
Yeah.
When we're too local, too.
Yeah.
Whatever that was.
Yeah, it's there though.
They laid the numbers. They laid it. All the rhombuses, parallelograms. They've got their position. Trying to drive this thing to 7. If we get it to 7, which I don't think we will, because they're driving the Brinks trucks in to bet Washington at that point. But 6.5, it's just sitting, waiting.
Right.
They're just waiting.
Yep.
I mean, it's a lay down. I don't even know why Washington will drive up. I don't have a clue. They don't have a shot. They're going to get crushed.
Well, that's true.
The books are going to get destroyed.
Yeah, again, I don't know. I got to make a couple. Listen, I'd love to get in touch with a couple of those guys because those books got different needs than some other books.
There's not a book on planet Earth, Kevin, that's going to need Washington on Sunday. Not one. Like, you can read and talk about the content space. Yeah. Ask people to work in books. Come on, Kev. You're smarter than that.
Listen, I'll look, man, but here's the thing.
You think a book is going to need Philadelphia on Sunday?
I mean, listen, I think what the book does not need is this to get to 7 and Eagles win by 6 again. It's what they don't need.
They don't need that. They don't need that.
They don't need. You know what's they don't need these games to keep landing like around the number, like the
Just
Houston.
somebody blows somebody out.
Yeah.
That's all the books root for. Like I listen, a Philadelphia 31-10 would be outstanding.
Yeah,
Cover
let's
the
get out of
teasers.
here.
Like
Right.
let's just blow, like and stay under the total.
Now
That
they
would
got to
perfect.
be. See, I don't remember wild card, but last week they did great on teasers because Detroit lost, right?
That was the only one. All the numbers fell. The Philadelphia game, both way teasers won.
Yep.
The Kansas City game, all four ways won with the total.
Detroit.
Sunday,
not Detroit. Buffalo.
the
Yep.
Bills, it's all the teasers won. I mean, the bookmakers, listen, there's no sympathy for the books. And I'm
No.
rooting for the people. I mean, I'm rooting for the people every day. That was one of the things they used to tell me when I worked in the book. Dave, you're always rooting for the people. Without the people, we don't have a job. It's going to be okay. We got the best of it all the time. What's wrong with this? Move the number if you're worried about getting beat. But one of the two games, ideally being a blowout, meaning just cover one side of the teasers and going under would be the best case scenario.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we'll watch it play out, whatever the books need. Good luck to them. Whatever they need, man. Whatever they need.
Do you want to see Philadelphia play Kansas City again? I mean, we were down in Arizona for the Super Bowl.
I want to make this clear. What I want in the AFC game has nothing to do with the Eagles. I want to make that clear. I, along with just about everybody else, is not interested in watching Kansas City. They are. Here's the thing. Sometimes you see, these dynasties and they draw you in, right? Mahomes had a moment where he was super exciting. They are the most off-putting team I can remember. As bad as it gets. We'll be right back on Game Time Decisions.
It's Championship Sunday. Can rookie sensation Jaden Daniels clip the Eagles' wings on his way to Super Bowl history? Then, two teams that know each other all too well face off in the AFC in the Bills and Chiefs. SportsGrid has you covered all day Sunday. Start at 8 a.m. with FST, followed by Pro Football Today, and stay with us for in-game live game day. Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Quick update here, Game Time Decisions with you. A lot of the games starting to get underway. But just
Man, there's a lot of reporting right now around the Jaguar situation. We've seen Albert Breer, longtime NFL reporter, saying that the Bucs had offered Liam Cohen, their offensive coordinator, a 3-year deal on Monday to become the highest-paid coordinator in NFL history. But he's, gone for that second interview. I think a lot of people know what that means. Here's the other thing. Mike Silver, again, another longtime NFL reporter, said he expects the 49ers to rehire Robert Saleh as their DC pretty soon. I do believe that Saleh was in the mix for that Jags job if some things fell through. It looks like you're going to see Cohen to Jacksonville. Saleh's going to get to the 49ers, which is good. We'll tell you why in a minute for that. And then we wait and see what happens on Dallas. For those that don't know, the reports today out of Dallas is that Brian Schottenheimer, their offensive coordinator this year, was going to become their head coach. Now, the reaction around everybody is, oh, God, no. This is a disaster, Jerry. What are you doing? And sometimes that public perception can hit that top level, and they go, all right, maybe we need to reevaluate. We're here with Dave Sharapan, and I'll say this, Dave. Ben Johnson goes to Chicago. It did move their Super Bowl number a little bit. Schottenheimer is also a guy who might move a couple numbers. Wrong direction, though. You're talking 2025 Super Bowl. Dallas, listen, I know they're never hurting for Dallas tickets, but you're going to get less if they're going with Brian Schottenheimer as their offensive coordinator.
100% they are. You don't openly do it right away, but you're right. Philadelphia and Washington aren't going to change much, and the Giants are what they are. I mean, they may get a couple impactful players. They're not changing the coaching staff. That's been decided.
Yeah.
I don't know, K-Dub. I was going to put you in for either maybe offensive line coach or something and try to get DRS to be the receivers coach down in Jacksonville. Nobody else will take that job. And I think you can build a nice staff down there. And it seems like that's the closest one ready in a division that not can be had, but at least you feel like you got a shot. Houston is still the best team, but we could change that around and go from mediocre or less than, 500 to 500 or better pretty quickly in that one. And no one wants to go down there and work.
Yeah. Look, these jobs are all difficult. I'll just say this on the Dallas job, because you just alluded to it, how Philly and Washington aren't going to change much. I think regardless, could be wrong, of the hire, the Cowboys will be booked third in the East, which is going to lead me, most unbiased man in the history of sports media, to start looking at Dallas in the futures market because of where Dallas is routinely priced. Schottenheimer is going to spoil that, which could put us on plan B. Now, nothing's actually going to happen until we do the research and we lock in September, because I wait. That's how I am. The other ideal scenario will be, at the moment, is the Niners without Purdy, assuming that drops their number back. Specifically, if you want to get really crazy, but I don't know how far the number will go back, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers and the Niners is something that I'm interested in if it comes to fruition.
Is this a K-Dub report, or are you speculating here more, or
All
are you hearing this is actually okay?
All speculation. All speculation.
Breaking news right now.
Yeah. All speculation. Not super likely. But
is he likely at all to go back to the Jets with that situation? I mean, what are you hearing back there?
See, I think that is the great question, because there is no quarterback situation that is more throw your hands up, I don't know, than the Jets. There are some situations where we don't know definitively, but you can list out a lot of options that, right? Like the Titans have the first pick. The Giants have the third pick. The Raiders have the sixth pick. It's totally on the board. Those teams all look quarterback. The Jets have the seventh pick. This is not a quarterback draft class that is projected to put 4 guys, definitely not 5, maybe not 3 in the first round.
Correct.
Okay, so we remove ourselves from there. Who are the free agents? Darnold? There's no way they do that, right? Bring back Rodgers?
That doesn't seem likely. Kirk Cousins, that's just Aaron Rodgers, right? So that doesn't seem like that's a home run. Can they pay Purdy record-breaking money? I don't know. What? That feels crazy. That Jet situation, but it's a good thing you bring up for me, Dave. Now listen, this stuff is not me betting bounce back spots on Nikola Jokic is not the same as, hey, the Jets last year had high Super Bowl odds. This year, low Super Bowl odds. We got value. Okay?
No, definitely not. Something different.
But it is a starting point, right?
Fair.
It is a starting point of saying, okay, I think we've got a good number here. I think we got a number we can work with here. But so I would listen. For me, I feel that now I am in my third year of having a very thorough, thought-out Super Bowl pick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? This year was the Eagles. Last year was the Bills. And the first year was the Denver Broncos in year number 1 of Russell Wilson. And a lot of things went wrong with that. But the one thing when I look back, where did you mess up? Was I overlooked Hackett, who I didn't like going into the situation, right? If the Cowboys hire Schottenheimer, and I'm sat here next September giving out Cowboys futures,
we're going to have to talk.
Something went wrong.
Something wrong.
Somewhere went way wrong, in fact. Maybe I did get a job on the staff like Dave's talking about. Maybe.
You'd be a hell of a coach. Man, you'd be a hell of a coach. That would be really.
Fire him up a little bit?
Oh, it'd be entertaining. We'd be fired up, running through walls. I think we would go to being a complete running team. Because if you got DRS in the room doing the wide receivers, he's a blocking wide receiver. I mean, that guy was a blocking wide receiver. He caught one pass a game, maybe, had one target a game. We're lining up in the wishbone and running behind Walsh's offensive line. Darn else.
That's good stuff. We'll close out game time decisions after this break. That's good stuff.
It's Championship Sunday. Can rookie sensation Jaden Daniels clip the Eagles' wings on his way to Super Bowl history? Then, two teams that know each other all too well face off in the AFC in the Bills and Chiefs. SportsGrid has you covered all day Sunday. Start at 8 a.m. with FST, followed by Pro Football Today, and stay with us for in-game live game day. Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Back at you right here on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh with you.
I don't want to get into it much, but you know those conversations around like, oh, the NBA, who's watching? And then some people are like, listen, I don't think the inside crew's helping out a lot. And then they just had old buddy try to announce that Giannis Antetokounmpo is an all-star starter. And he went, Giannis Antetokounmpo. How do you say it? Which is not great for a guy who's been in the spotlight for a decade. Goodness me. And that's coming from me. I'm lucky I can say Sharapan.
Believe me, I'm glad your name is Walsh. I shortened it to Caleb, like, as well.
Before I let you get out of here, anything you're keeping your eye on tonight, in-game live, of course, is coming up right after game time right here.
Massive slate of the hockey tonight on the ice, so we'll be in and out of a bunch of different games. Flyers and Rangers over early. That was something to look at. Fade Vancouver. I'm sure Wetzel will have some sort of play on the late night game with Nashville and San Jose. Nashville trailed the Sharks, 5-1. In-game price was like 20-1 on the Predators. We talked about taking a shot on the money line because the Sharks start fast, give up goals. They ended up giving up 6, and the Predators covered the original puck line, 7-5. So we'll have that. Washington a favorite at Seattle, talking about that. I mean, but seriously, Kevin, how could we be remiss to not mention in the NBA tonight an old school rivalry with some old guys on one side and some young guys on the other? I mean, the Celtics were this morning, they were 5. They were 5. They're not 5 anymore. They're 6.5/7 out in the desert. Celtics laying against, can I say your Lakers when we do this, on the nights we do this show? Can I still say that, or they're not your Lakers anymore?
Someone in the back just screamed this. LeBron's Lakers, I think really would roll.
Better. Okay.
21-time All-Star. They just announced that LeBron's Lakers works.
That's good. Yeah.
My pick in this game, you'll not be surprised. Celtics team total over 111.5.
Love it.
That does it. I mean, I'll tell you this though. I will say this. I know they're on a back-to-back, Boston, but they rested a bunch of guys yesterday. Okay, they're 6.5-point favorites. Still the Celtics.
Yeah.
If the Lakers win this game, it feels like a separator a little bit from the junk in the West. What I mean by that is the seasons going on in Phoenix and Golden State would be getting 10 times the recognition if they were going on in L.A.
100%. That's
now,
why you're the most unbiased guy in sports media.
I appreciate that, sir. If the Lakers win this game, 6 above 500, that'd be 6 games above 500, chance to get downhill a little bit on an easier next 4 or so games.
Yes, sir.
It starts to, it doesn't mean they're a contender. But it means when we talk about teams not getting the job done, we talk about Golden State, Phoenix, Minnesota. We don't do the Laker thing. The Lakers got to figure some stuff out, right? I don't really understand why Pelinka keeps leaking. We're going to do small stuff, right? I'm not sure what that's about because the league is either wide open or there are only 3 contenders, 4, 5. But it's one of the but the league also might be open, right? Possible. So
the West is interesting. I think the West is interesting because I think it's OKC separated themselves and a bunch of other teams. Sometimes it's Denver, sometimes it's Memphis, maybe it's Houston. I don't know. The West is wide open, Kato.
Listen, if Houston and Memphis occupy the 2 and the 3, now not to say that those teams can't win series, but there's going to be a lot of money against them. There's going to be a lot of money against them.
Oh, yeah.
This is a major, it's a huge get to the dance here and hope your matchups are nice, right? That's the way these things go, man. And before you know it, the NBA is going to be getting a lot of attention. That deadline's coming right around the corner, so keep tabs on it as always.
Consig, good to talk to you. We'll do it next week. He's live on In-Game Live next right here on SportsGrid. Don't forget, if you need one bet tonight at Warriors first quarter money line, we sizzle that against the Bulls. I'll see you Sunday on the conference championship weekend.